Welcome to Infinity and Beyond, a podcast that takes a look back at the works of Pixar animation before moving onward to their newest films. Today, you better find your super suits, because we're about to take a look at Brad Bird's 2004 masterpiece, The Incredibles. All right.
All right.
All right.
So,
All right.
we have a couple of new faces, to new
Voices.
voices to the podcast. So, let's do what we always do and start with introductions. I'm Daniel Hudson.
And I'm Jaron Gravely.
I'm Nora Jones.
And I'm Olivia Weeks.
All right, so
And we
Two
are
pop-
the Pixar bunch.
yeah, 2 weeks after we promised to have guests, we have guests.
Indeed.
Yay!
All right. Well, I'm glad we got some guests for this episode because what a movie today.
What a movie.
Incredibles
Yep.
is so good.
Yes,
It's incredible.
I have such strong opinions.
All right. Olivia, Nora, were you able to rewatch the movie, or were you?
I didn't have time today to rewatch it because we were at rehearsals all day.
All three
Yeah,
of us
neither
had
did
a
I.
10-hour rehearsal today.
So, yeah, I just got home.
That's all right.
But I know The Incredibles.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a few times.
That was
Yeah.
my childhood film. But I haven't seen it in a hot second. But I've seen the second one recently. So I had to catch up with the first one. So I'm good. I'm here. I'm ready
Okay.
to talk Incredibles.
Yeah, I've watched this movie so many times. When I was rewatching it, I was like, oh wow, I know every scene. And every
Okay, so you might like the movie.
I might like it a lot.
Yeah.
So, for me, this one is probably my favorite Pixar movie.
Yeah.
It's a solid second for me.
It's in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, they have so many good movies. I don't blame anybody for putting this one like lower down because they just have so many good ones. But
Yeah, they really do.
I don't know. I think I really might have to say the Incredibles is one of my favorites. I don't know. I'm scared to say it's my favorite. I'll have to think on that for a second.
yeah, that's partially why we're doing this, rewatching them all, so we can be like, man, which one is our favorite?
I will say I do love Ratatouille, which is part Pixar, I believe.
Oh yeah,
It's Pixar.
Ratatouille is so good.
And Up. Those are probably my top three. Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Up.
I think my favorite is still Brave.
Oh, I love Brave.
Yeah, Olivia, we need to make sure you're on our podcast for Brave.
Because I don't like Brave a whole lot.
I love Brave.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting episode when we get around to it.
That's our New Year's episode, I think.
Probably.
Ooh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
Fun.
That'll be when the three of us who aren't Daniel are doing Hamlet.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll be in my new apartment by that time.
Nora,
I'm
you're
not sure
turning on
what
video.
happened, but I got disconnected, and now I'm video. So
I don't know how you did that.
I don't either.
There's a button, Nora, between the turn off the call button and the
Oh.
microphone.
Is that it?
Yeah, you got it.
There you go.
I'm so sorry.
It's
But I
okay.
was talking about, oh yeah, Brave's a great movie, and all of a sudden I was like, hello?
You got really excited about Brave.
Yeah, I was so excited I just got speechless.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So sorry for the brief interruption.
It's okay. This is our first big call, so I expect technical
The
difficulties
past
abound.
several episodes have been just me and Daniel for like an hour and a half each time.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, welcome us to the party. Woo.
Yeah. Welcome.
Would you guys like to explain who you are, like aside from your names?
I'm fabulous. I'm just kidding. Olivia, do you want to go first, or I mean?
No, you go.
Okay. I am Nora Jones, and I am a junior in high school. That sounds fancy. I'm in the 11th grade. I'm in Les Miserables with Jaren and Olivia right now. By the way, they're both fabulous. If you should come see the show.
Will I have to bleep out that location?
If you were in some area of South Carolina and you know where a Best Park lives.
You're gonna have to bleep out who that is too.
Okay. If you like the show Les Mis, you should look up any possible areas where Les Mis is and just take your best shot and hope that it's their show.
In mid-December.
In mid-December. It's some location. Sorry, I'm not good with podcasts. I don't know what else to say. I play piano. I play sports. I like Pixar and animation. I'm obsessed with Steven Universe and anything Disney or Pixar. Yeah, I have a dog. His name's Bear. Did I have to leave that out? His name's Bear. You can't look up Bear. He'll be fine.
My dog's name is Harry, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel bad. I've revealed our location.
I can cut it out.
The magic of editing.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Right.
I don't know. What about you, Olivia?
Okay, well, hi. I'm Olivia. I am 20 years old. And I played violin for 10 years.
That's
And there's not much to say.
I ain't
You were
I'm 16.
Olivia. You were in short films made by.
Yeah, I was in some short films last spring.
One that I directed and one. Well, the film that I directed that you were in also starred Mr. Daniel Hudson, which is where his profile photo came from.
That's
Yep.
right.
Not an
Right?
actual still
Short
from the
film,
film.
Olivia.
All right.
It's a.
Are we just going to talk about our short films, or are we going to talk about this film?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting we're here to talk about Pixar. That's kind of important.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of the theme of the podcast, but it's fine.
We have.
To be fair,
we
you
have
didn't
had
know it
worse
existed
things.
until today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jaren. I really am failing.
It's okay.
It's okay.
So, this movie, everybody, we can get into all the plot stuff in a sec, but I'm kind of curious. What was everyone's first real exposure to this movie?
I was 8 years old when it came out, and I saw it, and I really liked it.
I was 6 when it came out, and I don't think I didn't go see it in theaters, but my mom got me the DVD and I watched it.
I just had a very big realization. The movie came out in 2004, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I was 2, and I just realized I definitely didn't see it when it came out, but in my mind I did. But I'm pretty sure it was in the back seat of my grandma's car while she was trying to keep me quiet as a toddler. And so
Cool.
it was on repeat quite often because I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Nora, I just had a realization.
Yes.
Has anyone ever told you sound like Violet a little bit?
Really? I
No.
loved Violet.
A little bit, yeah. All right.
Oh my god.
So, for me, this movie is the earliest film I can remember seeing in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, I was 7 at the time,
Aw.
and I'm sure I watched Finding Nemo in theaters, but I can't remember that.
I remember
The
seeing-
Incredibles though, and I've had a serious love affair with this movie throughout my life.
Yeah, what was
Yeah.
little Danny Boy's first reactions?
So, as a kid, Dash was my favorite character. And because of him, I was running across blue carpet or blue rugs whenever I could, pretending I was running across water.
Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool.
As a little kid, all I wanted to do was go fast, and Dash went fast, so I was Dash.
Aw.
So we should talk about who our favorite characters are, I think.
My favorite character is Elastigirl.
Oh yes, we love.
Good choice.
I vividly remember when McDonald's had the toys. I think I have all of them, and I used to chew on her hair.
Sorry, that broke me.
Okay.
I
It's been a
did,
long day.
It has been a long day.
Yeah,
but they were like rubbery, and I could spin their arms and stuff. It was great.
I'm sorry. I'm very tired. This Earl
Yeah.
Grey tea is decaffeinated too.
Oh my goodness. For me, my favorite characters really changed throughout the years.
Mine
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, because like I said, as a kid, like Dash was it. Dash was amazing.
The bomb.
Yeah. And then like as a teenager, I was like really shy. I was really introverted, so I really like connected with Violet. And like her whole story of like really gaining self-confidence. Like that was pretty inspiring for me.
Because we became friends in freshman year of college.
Yeah. And in college, Frozone was my dude.
Well,
Uh,
Frozone is my favorite
He has
character
the best
altogether.
line in the whole.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Honey, where's my super suit?
I paraphrased it for the intro. That's how great that line is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the best line. I mean, come on.
Honestly, if To Infinity and Beyond wasn't as iconic as it is, I think this podcast could be called Where's My Super Suit?
Yeah.
We might
Yeah.
have to change it.
Honestly, I would start a petition to change it. It's just such a good line.
You know, if our number one fan is saying that.
I know. Come on. No, To Infinity and Beyond. It's like a classic wholesome name. That can just be like the channel's nickname. Only
Word.
the original fans get it.
The OG.
The real fans call it.
The real fans.
All three of them.
All right, so let's.
Well, normally we start off with like the story, a recap.
Yeah, but I think one thing I want to talk about a little bit, and we'll definitely get to him more and more throughout the episode, is Brad Bird himself.
That is correct, the director and writer of this film.
So he is not somebody we've like really talked about in the past so
He's
much.
an outsider.
He really is. Because unlike Andrew Stanton or Pete Docter or John Lasseter, he was really just kind of brought in as this outside force to make a film for Pixar. And
Indeed.
I think what he did with the film was brilliant because it sort of seems like, sometimes you'll watch a kid's movie, especially when you're an adult or older, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that was good. But I really feel like Incredibles is a movie like that kind of connects with all ages.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
Go back and continuously watch it, especially with Incredibles 2, let me just say. I know that's not the movie we're talking about right now, but
it's okay.
um
We often bring up sequels.
okay.
Oh,
might
we
be
do.
kind of controversial. As much as I love Incredibles, I sort of really just a little bit like Incredibles 2 even better.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know it's controversial, but I loved that movie. I loved them both, but I don't know.
I mean, don't feel bad. Incredibles 2 is fun.
Yeah,
Like-
I think the scenes with Jack really got me in The Incredibles too. And Edna, I really liked the duo.
Oh
happening.
God, that was
They are a
those
perfect
scenes.
duo.
Funny.
Well, we're bringing you guys back for that episode when we get around to it.
Please, I'm just a
All right.
sucker for that comedic duo.
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't even really like Violet's character until Incredibles
Really?
2.
See,
That's
when
just-
I was little, Violet was my favorite character just because I was little. I was like, oh yes, female. Well, these were not the words I used at the time, but female protagonist that's an adolescent. Yes, at the time it was girl that's young.
you.
Yes.
Hey, I'm recording a podcast right now.
All podcasts are live.
They are, well, That's a live stream.
Hello, stranger.
This is my brother Tabor. He came in the room.
Hello.
What happened?
You have headphones on, but I heard
Oh,
someone
hello.
say hello.
Yeah,
Hello? Is
I was
it
going to ask
me?
you if you want any food. I'm picking up food.
I'm all right for right now.
What a sweet brother.
Sorry for interrupting.
Bye, buddy.
Surprise third guest for the podcast. Is he going to bring everybody food?
I would love that.
Yeah.
I think he likes movies as well, so I might ask if he wants to join us at some point.
That would be good.
He has very strong opinions about things, which are always interesting.
Yes.
Well,
Anyway, but yeah, now my favorite character is probably Edna.
Well, of course.
voiced by
She's
Brad
just so
Bird.
iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, hello.
for this movie, I think the reason why it can connect with so many people, a lot of family films are kids movies that adults can enjoy.
Yeah.
I think Incredibles is an adult movie that kids can enjoy.
I would agree with that.
I agree
Yeah, I
with that
think
as
that's
well.
right too.
Because like as a kid, so much about this like flew over my head. Like I didn't really understand like the concept of affairs. I didn't really understand.
Yes.
Like there's like alcohol in this movie. Characters just like casually drink alcohol. You do not see that in kids movies.
Yeah.
Like you even see the struggle of him, like where he's like kind of stuck of his like boring desk job, like continuous
Yeah.
life where he struggles in the beginning of the movie. And I mean, most adults like can relate to that.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like as a kid, that scene was mostly funny from when he throws his boss through a billion walls. But
Yeah, but once you grow up, you understand.
They're
it
like,
becomes
oh,
a
me
lot
too.
more cathartic.
And it's not like one of those pretty painted family pictures. Like Violet's like your typical shy, introverted teenager, like, and like there's like little brother, big sister kind of bickering going on, and everyone has to watch the baby. Like it's not just sometimes what you see in other films where it's over a happy family, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it shows the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was so for Brad Bird, this was a very important film. I don't know how much you guys know about his career. I know Jaron knows a good deal.
I do.
Didn't he do Ratatouille too?
Yeah, but that
later
came
on, yeah.
after this movie.
Right.
But
I
before
did
this
not
movie,
know that.
before this movie, he did The Iron Giant, and that was a movie that he put like a lot of heart into and a lot of effort into, and
That is one of my favorite movies ever made.
yeah, it's so great, but it did horribly at the box office when it first came out. And part of that was just because the studio had no faith in it.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he felt really like bad at this point in his career, I feel. And he really wanted to make a movie. I think this movie really is the struggle of Brad Bird, like because he got a lot of notoriety within the industry for what he did on The Simpsons.
Yes, he directed one of my favorite episodes, Krusty Gets Busted.
Yeah, he was like one of the main forces behind early Simpsons back when it was in like its golden age. And so he had his glory days, and then he had his dramatic fall. And Incredibles was really him getting back on his feet and making everything right again.
Well, he did good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's where a lot of this like movie's creative energy comes from.
I could definitely see that. The whole family, it's all about them redeeming themselves. I mean, redeeming superheroes and telling everyone that it's okay to break borders, and you know that I that makes more sense. I personally don't know that much about him, but just from what you've said, I could make those connections from the film to what
Yeah.
you've told me.
Yeah.
That was all.
And I mean, like, I haven't like read too many interviews, so I don't know if that's like that was his intent.
But it sure does seem like
it feels very much like it. Now that we're about 20 minutes in, why don't we actually talk about the plot of the movie?
Okay, that might be good.
Yeah. So
We begin. Oh,
we begin in the glory days, an era long gone by of pulpy comic book heroes in the real world.
well,
And
the direct intro, the first thing we see is one of my favorite Pixar intros of all
oh
time.
yeah, the documentary footage is really great.
Because it sets up three characters and how completely reverse their arcs are later on.
Oh yeah, but that's not really like part of the movie's timeline, I guess I could say, like, because like the actual movie starts on the wedding day of Mr.
Yeah.
Incredible and Elastigirl,
That's right.
He's got time.
but because Bob Parr has so much time, he saves a cat, he catches some bad guys, he catches a robber with Elastigirl, stops a man from killing himself by breaking that guy's neck, runs into Bon Voyage, blows up railways and saves a train full of people. All while this annoying little shit keeps popping in. His good
He's
buddy.
so annoying too.
Yeah,
I
I would
know.
definitely say this already sounds like an adult film that children can appreciate just from the descriptions that have already been said in the first 30 seconds of the film's plot.
Yeah, like once the actual story opens up, like the first thing we see is frickin' machine gun fire.
Yeah.
That really just went right over my head as a kid. I was just like, oh, they're fighting. Yay.
And then as an adult, you're like,
Wow.
Jesus Christ, those are guns.
Like, wow, I really watched this over and over again as a child. That's great.
Yeah, like they talk about suicide and there's court proceedings and all that stuff.
Yeah, like
Which
there's like depression and anxieties and just like in those first few minutes and
Yeah, when I was a kid and that happened, I had no idea what was going on. I was just like, why wouldn't he want him to save him?
when I was a kid, like I had no idea what suicide was. I just thought that dude fell.
Yeah, same. That's why I was like
You
so
know,
confused.
just standing on the top of a roof as you do, and then you
Mhm.
fall. Probably because somebody shined a bright spotlight in your face.
I mean, if I lived in a bigger city, I would stand on rooftops all the time at night and just look out at the
Well,
city
that's because you're
beneath me.
secretly Batman.
it's because you're Javert.
How did I not anticipate that?
Sorry.
That's okay. So, picking up where we left off with the movie, because of several accidents, Mr. Incredible gets sued, and then a lot of superheroes get sued, and it becomes too much for the government to handle because the government manages superheroes,
Yeah.
more or less. And so they basically get told, live your alter ego lives, never use your superpowers again, and canonically in the film, they're not even allowed to breed. There's some eugenics going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
just the fact that Mr. and Mrs. Incredible have 3 kids is kind of very illegal.
That's right. I that whole part went over my head because when I was a kid, I didn't understand that part. Like, I know that's like a main plot of the movie, but like the idea of the government like controlling the superheroes went totally over my head. I was kind of like well, they're the bad guys. Why aren't they fighting the bad guys? And then I was like, why aren't they thanking them? Like giving them a high five. Like, good job, guys. You took care of it for us.
Yeah,
Like,
this movie really does force superheroes to be in the real world.
yeah.
A good 10 years before DC would try that and fail.
Oops.
I have a weird soft spot for that movie, and I hate to admit it.
Well, I'm kind of talking about Man of Steel.
Oh, I was referring to the direct sequel to
Okay,
that.
okay. Man of Steel was not that bad.
I haven't seen it, but
BVS was not that bad.
Y'all
Well,
are gonna hate me. I've seen none of these.
well, here's the thing. Like, what Man of Steel really tried to do, from what I understand, is kind of like show what it would be like for Superman in the real world, but then it kind of doesn't. And I feel like Incredibles really does show what it would be like for you in the real world, because like the fact that superheroes can get sued is a thing.
Yeah. It also does the whole Civil War, like, red tape, registration type stuff way better than the comic or the movie did.
Yeah, this really does represent like a real understanding of like superhero tropes, superhero comics, and it kind of deconstructs them, but not for like any malicious intent, just to like tell
Yeah.
its story.
But at the same time is also something of a celebration.
Yeah. So after the lawsuits happen and the superheroes are forced to go underground, we cut to several years later, probably almost 2 decades.
Something like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mr. Incredible, now Bob Parr, is just working a desk job at InsurAcare, a job that he absolutely despises.
In his too small cubicle, in his too small car.
I'd like to give a quick shout out to the art design of that scene, though. Just thinking of it, like the colors they use, because everything in that movie is so bright and colorful and vivid, and the way they contrasted in that scene is very clever,
Yeah.
especially for
Yeah.
children who aren't going to pick up on that, but they see those dull colors and they're like, oh, he's upset. Because that's what I remember thinking.
Yeah.
So that was my quick shout out. Continue.
Thank you. Thank you for the art analysis there. We
You're
don't do that
welcome.
enough.
No, we don't.
These movies are art. We should really try that more.
I got you. I very much appreciate the art.
I mean, granted, if we did an episode on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I could break
Yep.
down that. There it is.
Yep.
We, for those not in the know, Jaren references Into the Spider-Verse every single episode.
Mostly to gloat at how Incredibles 2 lost the Oscar to Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So we can cover all that in a few weeks.
Yep, we will.
Fine. I'm just kidding.
Because this movie won the Oscar, and well deserved.
Well deserved, absolutely.
Good job, Incredible.
I think, did it also, I think the score was at least nominated for an Oscar. Hang
It
on.
certainly deserves it. 'Cause I,
It should have been. That theme song is iconic.
Oh, yeah.
Da-da-da.
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
Da-da-da.
Everyone attempts to poorly sing.
my throat hurts.
Oh,
I
dang.
sang a lot today.
So it was nominated not for the score, but for sound mixing, sound editing, and the screenplay. And,
Very well deserved.
Yep. So it actually won 2 Oscars. It won for sound editing and animated feature of the year.
I mean, Shark Tale was
Well
nominated for
deserved.
Best Animated.
Nope.
Wait.
Last week, our episode on Finding Nemo was like half Finding Nemo, half Shark Tale.
Wait, isn't Shark Tale the one with Will Smith?
Yes,
Yep.
it's amazing.
Okay, Olivia, it's been nice talking to you.
How do y'all not like Shark Tale?
How do you like Shark Tale?
I think the reason I like it is because
Will Smith?
I know I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that angelfish.
The Angelina Jolie one.
No.
I
She
think
reminds me of, what's her name from Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
yeah,
Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit. That was so stupid. Please ignore that I just forgot her name. Jessica Rabbit.
Look, I thought it was a good plot.
Okay, it was okay. But I mean, it's no Incredibles. It was not incredible.
Okay, no, it's
Good.
not Incredibles, but it's still a good movie.
It's not worth my time, Olivia.
Olivia, you should just make a podcast about DreamWorks movies, and you can have us on for the Shark Tale episode.
The Bizarro World. I should also add that these two, our guests, are also playing Ophelia and Laertes in our production of Hamlet.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Did we ever say what we are in Les Mis?
No, but you outed my identity.
I'm sorry. He's Javert.
Okay. All right, you theater nerds. Let's Get back
Hey,
to
pot calling the kettle right there.
Oh,
Haha.
Olivia's Gavroche and I'm Cosette. Okay, we're done now.
We're good.
We're good. It's out. It's out. Continue.
Okay.
Pixar.
So, Bob's home life is kind of dull. His kids are. Dash is acting out because he doesn't have any outlet and he really wants to go out for sports, but everybody knows he can't handle it because he'll just win by a mile.
Yeah.
Literally.
Maybe a few miles.
Violet's mostly just kind of stalking the boy she likes, using her invisibility powers to cower in fear every time he looks at her, which is adorable, but understandable for her. And
I remember being young like that.
And
you're only
Jack
23. And Jack is learning how to potty train.
Jack is amazing.
Truly incredible.
He is the finest incredible. The poster should just be Jack's face.
Wait, was there an Incredibles 2 poster that was just Jack?
I think there
I
was.
think
Yes, there was.
so.
Because my church meets the movie theater, and I saw that poster about every week for a while.
Nice.
Well, honestly, when I was younger, I did not like Jack because the demon baby scared me. Like, because he went from this cute, adorable little Jack, and then he turns into the devil. And he's like fire jumping around everywhere. And I was like, okay, that's a little much. But now I love him. I appreciate him and his little toddler shenanigans.
All right. Where were we with the movie?
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Home life, family.
Yep. So the home life is just kind of a almost as much of a drag for everybody as the work life. The only one who's really managing is Helen, who's just flexible enough to do it all.
That was good.
Yep.
I'm at that stage of tired where like everything's funny. So
I thought that was funny no matter what. I'm slapping my knee. That was a knee slapper.
All right. So Mr. Incredible and his good buddy Frozone, they listen to the police scanner at night, doing underground hero work.
with one of my favorite lines. For once, why don't we do what our wives think we're doing?
Frozone gets all the best lines.
He does. No. He also says, and I use this often. I wanted to go bowling. We look like bad guys and cops are bad guys. I say that sometimes.
Yeah. So they almost get caught by the police, but just an amazing scene of like Frozone getting a drink.
Yeah.
And then freeze. Always such a cool scene. I feel like the context would be super different if this movie came out today as opposed to 2004.
Oh, for sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wouldn't need to freeze the bullets. He'd just have to Naruto run to dodge them.
I hate
Yep.
you.
Are you guys familiar with that meme?
Yes.
Oh, I totally didn't hear about it for like several months.
It's like my favorite meme right now. Anyway. Turns out this hero work has attracted the attention of some people in the shadows. So,
yes, Xehanort and the organization.
Yep.
It sounds like a cult when you just say it like by itself. Anyway.
Anyway, Bob gets a little mad one day and straight up tries to murder his boss.
Which
I mean, what else is that supposed to be? Like,
it's just a typical Monday.
Well, because his boss stops him from trying to stop a mugging.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is under pretty difficult circumstances.
Poor
He's
thing.
like, let's hope we don't cover him. Also, I should add that Bob's boss is voiced by Wallace Shawn, Rex from Toy Story, and also Vizzini in The Princess Bride.
Is he
Really?
Yeah.
That
I did
dude's
not
an
know
amazing
that.
voice actor.
Inconceivable.
Oh my gosh, he is.
I can hear it now that you've pointed that out, and I'll never not hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Sharon. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
But I'm going to lightning through the rest of the plot, and we'll just talk about whatever we want to next.
That's next week, Daniel.
So Bob gets an offer to help with some shady quote-unquote government business. He lies, saying he's going to a conference. And
to his wife.
Yep. And fights an AI robot, Omnidroid. Barely squeaks out a win there. And his life really turns around after that. He gets in shape. He starts hanging out with his family more. Gets a sports car. So this is his midlife crisis, basically. And everything seems to be going okay for a little bit, but Helen starts to suspect something when she hears Bob on the phone with Mirage, who is just the coolest person.
Great name as well.
Oh, yeah.
Mirage.
We're going to have to talk about her because she's really probably the most interesting and underrated character in this movie.
Well, good thing we have an entire segment dedicated to the characters after we discuss the plot.
Yeah. So, getting back to the plot, when Bob goes back to the island for what he thinks is another mission, turns out it's just another Omnidroid that very nearly kills him before Buddy shows up. Now Syndrome.
The best Pixar villain.
By far. I mean, at this point, there's not too much competition, but...
All right, question. Is Syndrome technically a twist villain?
I feel like he's... no.
Not really. I mean...
Although we see him earlier on.
Yeah, but he's not a
child.
villain. He's not a villain when he's a child, though. He becomes a villain later on.
Yeah, so he's not like Waternoose or the Prospector. Or...
He's
I
a
don't think he
likable
counts.
villain.
He's a fantastic villain. He's my favorite.
Yep. So, Mr. Incredible narrowly escapes, breaks back into Syndrome's base later that night, and discovers basically his plan. But before he can get out of there, turns out Helen has figured out sort of what he's been doing, and activates the homing device in his suit, which gets him captured. So Helen decides she's going to go figure out what's going on and flies to the island. The kids tag along. And shit goes down.
Okay.
They get to the island. Everybody fights for a little while. Helen breaks in and meets up with Bob, and they almost break out, and then Syndrome just captures them again. He prepares his master plan of pretending to be a hero, because he's got major imposter syndrome.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
I know, I sure do. I mean,
So the family breaks out. The family goes over there, and they fight the Omnidroid, and they win because they're the best family.
they're cool guys.
Yep. And Syndrome tries to steal their baby, but it's okay because they throw a car at him and no capes, and he dies.
And Jack is scary.
Jack is horrifying.
He's so scary.
All right, so just from the plot description alone, it probably doesn't sound like the most complex story, but it's really just how dark everything can get. Like that moment where Mr. Incredible thinks his whole family is dead is just...
Yeah.
He very nearly snaps.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's more complex when you're watching it, though, because there's a lot of little subplots. I mean, with the whole Edna thing and the sort of kind of a hint of affair with Mr. Incredible, but there's not. But just those topics coming up and
Yeah, I mean, as the film's going on, you can very clearly see how Helen would think it is an affair.
yeah.
And she also uncovers it has something to do with hero work, but she's mostly concerned about the affair.
Yeah.
And there's that, and there's all the stuff the kids go through.
People try to murder those children.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's another thing I really like. That scene in the cave where,
Yes,
uh,
I was just about
like,
to say that.
like she does not try to sugarcoat it at all. She's like, these people will try to kill you, and they really try.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but did anybody else get severe anxiety when the children were separated from the parents? Like, that part always stresses me out so bad because then they're just fending for themselves and they barely know how to use their powers, and I just feel scared for them. And
Yeah,
I know this is Disney, it's gonna all turn out fine, but
but
still.
I mean, the sequence with Dash is just mostly really fun because the action is so creative.
Once
The
again,
score is great.
artistic appreciation. The water work with Dash running is
So
perfect.
beautiful. You can imagine why I liked running around on blue carpet as a kid.
Oh,
Yep. So, well, yeah, that whole sequence really is kind of nerve-wracking, and it's not like there was like a better option because like should Helen take them with her? No.
They just stow away.
Yeah, but like once they're already on the island, like should she leave them in this cave that she thinks is safe, or should she keep them with her? And like, there's no easy answer for that.
I love it. It's good storytelling. There's like, stakes and stuff.
Yeah, and there's so much character stuff happening too, like on the plane, which itself is an incredible sequence. Like the editing there as the missiles are getting closer
Oh
and
yes.
Helen is screaming and Violet's trying to make the shield. Like that's such a pivotal moment for Violet's character, and then like they actually have a conversation about it not too much later, and that's really the part. Like once Violet puts on the mask, like you just kind of know
yeah.
uh, that's her really coming into her own or starting to. Because I feel like I'm hogging the mic here, but I do have like one little tangent about that,
Oh, go right ahead.
and it's like in the earlier parts of the film, like usually Violet does not like have a lot of control over the frame. She's not like a very big presence,
Yeah.
and there's only a few times where she starts to. Um, the scene at the dinner table where she starts like her big rant about how nobody's normal in this family. Like she starts out like so isolated in the corner, and as soon as she starts like her outburst, like the camera pans over slightly, just like put her towards the center, and then she gets her own close up, and it's just good filmmaking.
Good
Yeah.
filmmaking.
If I could add on to that, I would say one of the best things about Incredibles that I really think makes it so successful is the arches and just like it's so clear to see that character development in just about every single character. I mean, like think of Mr. Incredible from the beginning to the end of the film.
Oh yeah, like
There's a drastic change, and like Violet, like even when she becomes confident to talk to the boy that she likes, you know?
yeah, and like it
Yeah.
feels very natural too, because I think like Mr. Incredible is so different from the beginning to the end, but there's no like one moment where he like gets it. It really does take the whole film.
It's almost
Yeah.
kind of like real life, how people just kind of, it's not
But
all at once
yeah.
sometimes.
But the family needs each other to do it. Like,
Yeah.
because separated, they all struggled, but when they came together is when they were really able to fulfill their task.
Oh yeah,
When-
that like that first scene where they're all fighting together is absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think my favorite action sequence in the film, and it's kind of not even an action sequence, is when Elastigirl gets caught between all the doors.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's
that
one
scene,
of the scenes I can just see in my head.
Yeah.
yeah, because like it's so creative for one, just like do that with her powers, and
Mm-hmm.
like there's so many moving parts. Like she gets trapped in 4 different sections of hallway at one point.
There are few superhero movies that really take advantage of powers as well as this one does.
Yeah, and I think Elastigirl was where they had the most fun, really, with what she can do.
Yeah. And they do it a lot more in the sequel, too, which we're not going to talk about, but
Not
So
yet.
hard not to talk about.
Yeah, so
the animation they use in that scene as well. Sorry, I keep going back to the animation, but the animation they use in that scene as well with the doors was really, especially for like, I mean, there was great work happening still with like the movies that they were making. I'm losing my words. Great strides with Pixar and Disney then, but I don't know. That just seemed really advanced to me for them in a way, just the way that they did it and portrayed it so clearly. Just personally, that's what I think.
I think part of that really is just like good directing on Brad Bird's part.
Yeah.
Because unlike almost any Pixar movie before this one, like Brad is kind of the solo voice here. Like there's nobody else credited as co-director, nobody else on the screenplay.
he's an auteur.
That fun little word.
Oh, we've got a fun little word to discuss in a little bit, Daniel, that we've been talking about for a very long time. Some myths to be dispelled.
Oh no. Well, let's save that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't want to get to that so soon. Let's start talking about the fun things again.
Because there are a lot of them.
Yeah. I think if you challenged me to like come up with 50 great scenes from this movie, I absolutely could.
Oh,
Oh,
you could.
definitely.
Well, I mean,
like-
you're the mad lad who did that Star Wars list.
Yeah, I still have to make that video.
Yeah, you do.
But anyway, we'll consider that a tease for my longer project. But like every scene, like the dialogue is just so good at implying history.
Yes.
like, The scene where Mr. and Mrs. Incredible are arguing after he comes home from the fire is like she mentions like I can't believe you don't want to go to your own son's graduation, and his response is like so perfect. Like we've never seen this conversation between them before, but you can absolutely believe it's already happened.
Yeah. Mr. Incredible's kind of a boomer.
Oh. Yeah.
He absolutely is.
He's
Yeah.
a boomer until he starts doing superhero work again.
Then
I
he's
think
a
his
zoomer.
passion really changes him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean like that scene where he's been offered hero work again, and he looks over his entire like room.
Oh, I love that part so much.
The music swells, and he's just reminded of how great hero work makes him feel.
Yeah. I think everyone has like that thing, you know, the thing they love that like gives them purpose.
And just doing the
Minus
one
theater.
mission, like really changes a lot in life. Like he gets in shape because he's just so energized by it, and he loves his wife. He loves on her so much in that montage.
I think that's really telling because of like all the affair stuff that deep down that's like never his intention or desire.
Never at all. Like there was never anything between him and Mirage. They kind of flirted once at dinner.
Yeah.
That was as close as it got, and like that table was so long. Like they weren't actually flirting. The moment when Elastigirl punches Mirage. Like there's so many perfectly timed jokes in this movie, but that's maybe near the top.
I never was that fond of Mirage, and I think it's because I didn't understand the concept of an affair, of course, because I was so young, but something about it didn't seem right. I just was like, why isn't he with Elastigirl? And I had a problem with like the whole dinner setting scene. It just seemed off to me as a kid, and I never really. I feel as if I like really studied her, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I like Mirage, but I really, she's just, I enjoyed when Elastigirl hit her in the face. Plainly is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, like
yeah.
I mentioned before, I think Mirage is like a really underrated character from this movie because like nobody talks about her or anything.
Yeah.
One of the things that's so cool to me, like there's so much we don't know about her.
Yeah.
Like in her recording, she says, according to the government, neither of us exists, and you just kind of have to wonder,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
her deal?
Well, I mean, think about her name.
Yeah, like
What that would imply.
was she
That's
like a
a
former
really good
spy?
point.
Was she a former spy? Is she like a super herself after a fashion, or like what's going on there?
I never thought of it like that. That's a really good point.
Yeah, like again, like she's really cool because we don't know much about her, but she has her own arc throughout this movie. Like,
Yeah.
because she starts off really just using Mr. Incredible and being used by Syndrome in that way, and then she pretty much realizes how much of a toxic dick Syndrome is,
Yep.
and does good things. It's kind of sad. We never really get like a resolution with Mirage, like what she went on to do, because the last time we see her is when she gives them the password for the rocket.
Yeah.
I think it's because Pixar sort of paints her as the villain a little bit, just because she's associated with Syndrome and like the whole manipulation kind of thing she has going on. So that's probably why there isn't as much of a resolution, but that would have been nice to follow up with.
Yeah, because she hasn't come back for the sequel or anything. I don't think she's been in
Oh.
any like side projects or anything like that. And part of me
There's one
kind of
side project I really want to talk about.
part of me does like that she just kind of gets to slink off into the shadows where she came from, because like we don't know her origin, we don't know where she ends up, but she is a major player in this movie regardless.
Can we go ahead and talk about how Syndrome and like modern like fan bases are kind of similar?
Oh, Syndrome is the embodiment of toxic fandom.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that because I think that's
Oh, I have a lot to say about toxic fandoms.
yes, you K-pop stan.
I live it every day on Twitter.
Yeah, and Syndrome really is like the embodiment of like the general idea, because like he feels ownership of the things he
Entitled.
likes. Yeah, he feels very entitled. He feels ownership, and then when it becomes apparent that he doesn't like own this thing, that he can't be a part of this thing, like he just wants to destroy it.
Olivia, would Syndrome tweet fan cams?
No. He would be one of the people that would look up tweets that have people's name in them, and he would comment something like really mean under them.
He's the hater.
Yeah, he's the one that like looks for the attention.
He's the
You're
guy.
right on the money.
Syndrome would absolutely be a hashtag release the Snyder Cut kind of guy.
Yeah, he would be one to start the hashtag over something that like
Hashtag Mr. Incredible is canceled.
yeah, like Mr. Incredible's over party.
Yeah.
Maybe if you stand Gazer Beam.
Yeah, that's exactly what he would do.
He's like the ain't nobody got time for that. No, that's not that. I can't remember her name. I'll come back to it in a minute. Give me a minute for my reference. Continue.
Okay. But yeah, Syndrome definitely toxic fandom in a big way.
It's like fans of a certain eighth installment, and not fans, but like anti-fans of like a certain eighth installment of a certain franchise who just won't stop talking about it.
Yeah.
And
Like he can never let it go. He dies angry, really.
yeah, like if you don't like the thing, just move on.
Yeah, he is the inability to move on taken to its furthest extreme. To the
He's
point
so
where he tries.
extra.
Yeah, to the point where he tries to commit genocide.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This movie has Pixar's second highest body count so far.
Second.
Yeah, because in Finding Nemo they
Oh,
murdered
400
400
babies,
babies.
Catch Me Outside, how about that, girl? That's what it was.
Oh my god.
Before she did that for all that attention. Sorry, that was my reference. There we go.
Better late than never.
That was going to drive me insane. I had to look it up. That was sad. That was a sad moment for me.
I really want Syndrome's voice actor to just record "Cash Me Outside." How about that? And have somebody animate it.
Would Dr. Phil send Syndrome to the ranch?
Catch Me Outside, Incredibles. How about that?
You know what other Dr. Phil girl he reminds me of?
What?
That I can't remember her name, but she pretended that like oh my god, that she was white
Oh, yeah.
and just so that Dr. Phil would fly her out to California. That's Syndrome.
Well, Syndrome, I've been told that
Oh my gosh.
you created a giant robot. Is that
Yeah,
true?
that's right. Yeah, that's right. I did.
Man.
Do you feel any remorse for your actions?
I mean, when I'm ruling over everyone, not really, because they're all going to do what I say. So, no, not really.
Yeah, it's going back a little bit to toxic fandom. Like Syndrome constructs a plan where he gets to pretend to be the hero, and that is so much like a lot of what these like toxic fans are doing. Like the release of the Snyder Cut people have built a world in their minds where the perfect Justice League movie exists, but nobody will release it, so they have to campaign for it.
And I'm someone who actually wants to see the Snyder Cut too.
And I mean, like, there are people who hate The Last Jedi so much they tried to get it remade.
Oh, I remember that. You and I
Yeah,
talked about that a lot. That one
I'm
summer.
sure there's something like that for K-pop fandom too.
What?
I'm sure there is. I'm sure. Would you know?
Say it again.
Like, is there something in the K-pop fandom equivalent to kind of what Syndrome does, where he just kind of like tries to fabricate a false reality where he gets to be
Oh my god. All the time.
Here
all
she
the time?
goes.
Every fandom has one.
The Kingdom Hearts fandom's actually kind of chill. It's like, for such a weird game, it's like mostly like normal people.
So Kingdom Hearts is for normies.
No, well, I mean, maybe, I guess. I don't know. I did stand out in line at GameStop. Oh, God. Yeah, when Kingdom Hearts 3 came out in our town, there was a 9 o'clock release event the night before it came out at GameStop. And little independent game shop you probably never heard of, little mom and pop place. Thankfully, I was able to get out of rehearsal for Oklahoma that night. So I went over to GameStop and just stood in line with all the people. And I was like, this is what my life has become.
It sounds fabulous, Jaron.
It was fun. I mean, there was one guy who was like, I've waited 10 years for this. But Kingdom Hearts 3 wasn't announced until like 2013.
I thought it took like 13 years. Is that wrong? It was. I need to play the games, and I know I sound like a fake fan, but I just know about them because I watch Thomas Sanders on YouTube and he plays them, and now I really want to play them because
You would definitely be a fan, I think.
I would love it. Like,
you would be a Sora boy.
Probably. But I mean, like, I know the characters and somewhat, not like perfect, but just from what I've watched, and I'm like, oh, yep, I need to get this. But at the same time, it's dangerous. I do, because I could quickly become obsessed. So
You could.
and the correct word is would, but
Exactly.
But not Syndrome level obsessed.
Well, like I said, the Kingdom Hearts fandom is like mostly like level-headed people who aren't too crazy.
I'm crazy. I'm just kidding. Well, no, I'm crazy. Continue.
The K-pop community is just it's the thing about it is that most of the crazy people are on Twitter.
Yeah, that's where I see most of it.
And
if you're on Twitter, you're crazy.
you can't avoid not being on Twitter because that's where they post all their updates. So
you're just kind of stuck.
you're screwed, basically.
I just think the whole fan cam thing is really funny.
Look, it is so funny because the funny thing about it is that people get so mad.
No, you were showing me one when like we were at the Huddle House the other night. You were like, "Look at this." It's just some conversation. Wait, no. You looked up Trump tweets to find that there was fan cams underneath it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For those of you who don't know, fan cam. Olivia, do you want to explain what that is?
Okay, a fan cam is like you have a group and there's specific members. So let's take A Pink. There's 6 members.
I like them the best.
So a fan cam is when somebody with a camera, usually like a fan site, they're dedicated to one member and they video just this one member dancing to their song. And that's a fan cam.
But what people do is like they'll just post that under like unrelated tweets just to hype up their member.
So it's like a glorified TikTok?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess. It's like a full video.
I know this.
Basically,
I know most of
K-pop
the stuff
TikTok.
because of Olivia and because of my other K-pop friends. Shout out to Madison and Kenzie. I doubt you guys even know this exists.
They'll hear it one day when the podcast goes famous, Jaron.
Oh yeah.
I find
We'll get-
your faith reassuring.
We will get
You're
famous.
welcome.
We will get famous for our Onward episode, but that'll be like the last episode for a little while. So we
Yeah,
won't
not
know
until
what to do.
Soul.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Soul.
Okay, before we start talking about other Pixar films.
Yeah, because we're getting dangerously onto that track and off the one we're on.
Oh yeah, we got on Dr. Phil topic. We're way off. We're gone.
Yeah.
Listen, the three of us who aren't Daniel had a 10-hour rehearsal today.
Our brains are fried.
Oh, I'm sorry. I worked for 9 hours.
Okay, he might have done more.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
It's okay.
How was your job, Dan the man? How'd it go? How was it today?
Not fun. It's
Sorry.
not as soul crushing as Insuricare would be,
There you go.
because there you're literally incentivized to make people's lives worse,
Oh.
and it sucks so bad that Bob got that job.
Yeah.
Like why?
You work at GameStop?
No. I won't say where I worked. I don't know if I'm allowed.
Allowed? Wait, there's rules.
Yeah, they made me sign agreements and stuff when I first joined, even though it's like just a retail job. So I'm like, oh, am I
I
allowed
thought
to
you
do
meant
this?
like podcasts had rules.
Oh
no.
no. Sometimes
No.
like
Oh.
when you work somewhere, you can't say stuff about it.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some of the best scenes in this movie. All the scenes with Edna.
Of course.
Thank you. 150% correct.
Yeah. When I said Frozen had all the best lines earlier, it's because I was putting Edna in triple S tier,
Yeah.
God tier.
She makes the film. I'm sorry. You can disagree with me, but you're wrong.
Without Edna, this movie would not be as good. I agree.
You really need. There are some dark themes. You need a comedic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the moments when Frozen and Jack aren't around, you have Edna.
And she is the queen of everything. The best Pixar character. Mwah. Just the tea and crumpets of life.
The no cape scene is just perfect, and it's
No
great
cape.
that It's great that that's what ultimately killed Syndrome, is the cape.
It's Chekhov's cape.
Yeah,
Edna
it's a little
always.
foreshadowing.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, like in the scene where she's showing off all the super suits, like that scene is pure exposition, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, and it's actually really useful and helps flesh out the world.
She's just so good. Everything about her, like just anything scene she's in is automatically the best scene.
Did you see the footage during the 2005 Oscars, during the costume awards? They actually animated Edna into the footage.
No,
That's cool.
I need
Yeah.
to see this.
And she introduces the awards and stuff. It's amazing.
Well, that's because she's amazing.
Yeah. 2005 had the best Oscars because that was the only Oscars with Edna.
Yeah,
I
the
stand
rest
my
just-
my wig. It's my bias.
Stop.
Yeah. But like, this movie would, like, so much of the plot wouldn't happen without Edna, and you don't really realize it. Because without her, like, Helen would never really know where to go to find Bob. She probably wouldn't have had the motivation to go find Bob. And then he just,
Do you know where your husband is?
do you know where he is?
What a queen!
Yeah, and voiced by Brad Bird, which is
The
maybe,
director
What?
himself.
yeah, Brad Bird.
Boyd.
is the- Boyd.
Brad
is
Wood?
white.
Brad Boyd. That's his name now.
Olivia, I don't know if I forgot to tell you, but I love the way you say dog in Little People in your
Wait,
Cockney accent.
Oh.
Now I want to
Yeah.
hear it, Olivia.
I can't even think of the line right now.
Oh.
Later. But yeah, Brad Bird is the voice of Edna, which is the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I should know more about Brad Bird than I do. I am weak. I should know. I'm so. He seems
Damn
like
Brad
a
Bird.
split man.
Oh man, he is genuinely great. He is truly exceptional, and I feel like a lot of his frustrations about the Iron Giant failing, like it all comes through in this film, and
Yeah.
and that's why a lot of people seem to think he's
Oh,
Raven.
here we go.
Yeah. So, Olivia, how much do you two know about this?
The what?
Brad
The
Bird.
about the Randian themes of the Incredibles.
Objectivism.
About the what?
Okay, so
Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged.
So much. All the information, obviously.
so
No, nothing at all. Continue.
here's a crash course in this dumb not even a fan theory, just kind of like a theory to discredit Brad Bird as a person.
Oh no.
To try to cancel him, I guess.
No.
So Ayn Rand, she was this right-wing philosopher, and she made this theory called objectivism, which is basically the exceptional people of the world need to be allowed to do whatever they want, and everybody else needs to get out of their way.
Oh.
And you can kind of see how that somewhat relates to Brad Bird's stuff, because if everyone's special, no one is, all that kind of stuff.
I do have a refutation to.
Yeah, me too. But people like really start to apply this not just to The Incredibles, but to most of his work, and it's not warranted. It's not right. If you do it, you're wrong. But that's the real basics.
I
Okay.
don't want to think that.
I mean, I kind of see it.
I see it, but I don't want to think it.
Well,
Yeah.
we have refutations.
So, yeah, like you're saying, you can see it, but that's only because you've heard the surface level stuff about objectivism now. The real truth of the matter is objectivism is capitalism's excuse for being capitalism.
Yeah.
Like, objectivism.
Wait a minute, is this becoming what Daniel? Remember the Monsters Inc. episode when it became the Pixar Proletariat Hour?
Yeah. Bob Parr sees as the means of production. Yeah. Basically, objectivism, the broad strokes, basically, you shouldn't be nice to anybody. You shouldn't try to help anybody, because if you're better than them, you're just better. But The Incredibles are all about saving people, stopping
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And
As a Hufflepuff, I disagree with these
Dude,
statements.
I'm a Hufflepuff as well.
That makes so much sense.
About me?
enjoy huffing
I
whatever,
didn't know
you
you were a
guys.
Hufflepuff. I should have known that.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Oh, no,
Ravenclaw gang.
Oh my
Are you a
god.
Ravenclaw?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Two puffs and two claws together wear Huffle claws or Raven Puffs. Either one. Raven Puff sounds like a cereal.
I would eat that.
I
Eat
have
that.
to eat it too.
Quaff the cereal, never
So-
more your stomach.
I
Wow.
know you guys want to talk about made-up cereal, but we have to get back to Randy and objectivism.
We were making a brand deal.
Take that out of just that should be the title of the episode.
Raven.
The let's get back to Randy.
Raven Puffs. Oh, and The Incredibles also.
Okay, so basically, the main thing about objectivism is that it really is for capitalism in a way that's not good at all. But the final nail in the coffin for why Brad Bird isn't an objectivist is because all the capitalists in his movies are terrible people. Like, Bob's boss at Insuricare is awful. Like, it's a happy moment when he flies through a couple walls. And Syndrome is a capitalist himself. And he is also the exceptional person, quote unquote, held down by the world around him because of his genius not being recognized. If
I
anybody,
would say he's more recognized just because he goes about it the wrong way. Just from greed. And I feel like the message is you have to have heart and care about what you do. But
exactly, which is not what Randianism is about.
yeah.
If anybody's the objectivist in this movie, it is Syndrome. And I mean, he's a genociding, baby kidnapping, mass destruction causing jerk.
But I sort of feel bad for him.
I feel
Just
bad for him when
because-
he's a little kid. When he doesn't know what he's doing, when he's in over his head.
And
I
his
didn't
hero
feel bad
fails
for
him.
I feel bad for him too.
I didn't feel bad for him as a child, but I feel bad for him now just because I know he just wants that attention and to be recognized so badly that he takes it out in horrible ways. But at the same time, I don't know.
I also feel like he's a bit of a narcissist.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, most definitely. And I I just feel so bad for him.
Yeah.
He's
and,
his own enemy.
and part of the tragic flaw is Mr. Incredible did make this happen. He made this enemy.
Yeah, I mean, even though he didn't really, mean to, he did, create him.
Yeah. And
When I saw Spider-Man: Far From Home with you, Daniel, and me, you, and Joey who saw it, and Mysterio, I was like, oh, he's just Syndrome.
Yeah.
I think Iron Man 3 is the more direct parallel to The Incredibles.
True. With what's his name?
Killian.
Yeah. I unironically am an Iron Man 3 stan.
Yeah. But it's telling that you can remember Syndrome, but you can't remember Killian's name.
Yeah.
And
I
it's
just remember
because-
the white Mandarin
Yeah.
who blew up.
A lot of villains blow up. A lot of people blow up in this movie.
They
Yeah.
do.
They do. Almost like a mother and her child almost get crushed to death in the ending scenes. Like, does anybody remember that? That was like a vivid image that stuck in my head. And
Oh
like
yeah.
Mr. Incredible like comes in and saves them. I'm like, hi, that was about to be a really gory death if we had missed that by a millisecond. But
Yeah.
you know,
That's what heroes do.
yeah.
Yeah. But like so many just of the bad guys that Syndrome employs, like they just die. Like I think Dash is more or less responsible for 4 or 5 people's death.
Yeah, just straight up manslaughter.
Oh my gosh, you're right. That went way over my head.
Yeah, like
Didn't go over their heads.
Oh, nope.
it went
they're
through
dead.
their heads.
Yep.
Oh.
Shout out to that one henchman though, who's actually like really smart. The guy who was like trying to locate Violet when she was invisible, and like he actually had intelligent tactics to figure out where she was.
Yeah.
Like so often henchmen are just like faceless goons who are all stupid, and like
Just
this guy,
stormtroopers.
yeah, and this guy was like on top of his shit.
It bothers me that they were all like clones of each other. I don't know why, but it creeps me
2004.
out. Yeah, it creeps me out.
It really was beneficial for the animation to just be able to clone stamp them.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Like Pixar got so much better at making just like tons of original background characters later in their years, but at this point, like they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of environments that are just kind of empty. Like the ending fight in the city, as much as I love it, there's not a lot of people like running for their lives or anything.
Other than that one woman and her child that almost get crushed to death. But anyway.
Yeah. I think that's like the only animation thing I can really be down on the animation for is just that a lot of the environments are just kind of empty sometimes and don't hold up as well.
I do agree, but I think some of that just came with, the time and like when the movie happened.
And I mean like there's so much good in this movie too. Like the human models are like had a big upgrade from previous Pixar movies.
And the best thing is they're not trying to be like realistic looking people. They're all extremely stylized looking.
Yeah, Brad Bird got a start in 2D animation, and it really shows with his character designs.
Well, did you know that this was going to be a 2D film at some other studio?
Yeah, but then Brad got offered Pixar, and he jumped at the opportunity.
I mean, honestly,
who
wouldn't?
It wouldn't be the same as a 2D film.
It wouldn't. Like, a lot of the camera stuff wouldn't work nearly as well in 2D.
No.
Right? It's like, even though Brad Bird is, like, a consistent director throughout, whether he's doing animation or live action, like, you can compare, like, the camera work in The Iron Giant to this one, and it's very different.
Like Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland was really good.
Whoa, someone actually saw it other than me?
I had issues with Tomorrowland. I liked it. But,
It's a good but flawed movie.
Yeah,
I
it does have a lot of flaws.
With I can't remember his name, but with the robot girl and I can't remember.
All right, that was
George
creepy.
Clooney.
Yeah.
With George Clooney and the robot girl, I'm sorry, that ruined it for me. She was like 10, and no.
Yeah, but
okay.
Robot.
But still,
and it was
he was 10 when they first met, right?
It was anticlimactic. I was expecting a marvelous film like for the generations to see, and I was let down by the pervert robot experience.
I agree that it was anticlimactic because I was expecting. I don't want to spoil it, but I was just expecting.
It came out like 4
I
years
didn't
ago.
get what I was expecting.
To be honest, I don't remember anything from the movie. All I remember, because it stuck out to me, is the pervert robot, and I went saw
the PRE.
We can talk about Tomorrowland when we talk about Incredibles 2, because Tomorrowland is basically the reason Incredibles 2 happened.
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, because Brad Bird did that movie as well, and
Oh.
it
It
bombed
bombed.
hard.
It also
So
killed the chances of a third Tron movie, which me, the lone Tron stan in this world.
I'm so sorry for you, Jaren. But
Everybody has failures sometimes. It's okay.
yeah, but
Not
because
that.
All of the Trons, including the original ones, are on Disney Plus.
I know. I started watching the original the other day.
Y'all,
Jaren
I
is a
need to
happy
get
boy.
Disney Plus. Everyone's got Disney Plus, and I need Disney Plus, and it's making me sad.
Does your family have Verizon?
Yes.
You can get it for a year free.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
It sounds like we just did like a promo for like Disney Plus.
Hashtag not
Wow,
sponsored.
really? I'll go get it today.
Yeah. Well,
I wish I had some of that Disney money.
Me too,
we just need to
Darren.
become movie critics, and then they'll pay us to write good reviews.
Oh, God.
Disney, your movies are fabulous. Please pay me big money.
Zack Snyder is a poo-poo head.
Jaren, you're ruining my brand deal.
No. I'm only insuring it further.
Okay, guys. All I was trying to say is because Tomorrowland bombed, Brad Bird needed to make a movie that would make money, so that's why he did a sequel to Incredibles. But
Well, we don't have to talk about Tomorrowland again.
we'll probably talk
PRE.
for Incredibles too. But back to The Incredibles.
Yeah, we keep getting off track of that film that we keep referring to.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it quite a bit, but all right, let's just go around the room here, and everybody like say, like just what scene is your favorite? What sticks out to you the most?
Oh God.
I don't mind.
Okay, Jaren, you go.
The computer scene.
Ooh.
The music and stuff. Just the amping tension of seeing all his former friends dead. Not seeing them dead, but finding out the terrible truth. And
Yeah, just the realization.
Oh
of, like,
yeah, I know what you're
like-
talking about.
like
that whole scene is very
panics.
James Bond.
He panics and he immediately like searches to see if like Elastigirl is like known or not.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was another good moment, just like establishing Bob's character. Like, yeah, in spite of like everything that's going on, he still really cares about his family.
Yeah. And Frozone, too.
And Frozen too.
Well, that's what makes them so likable. That they really are there for their family, and like the love that they have for the love that all the characters have for each other within the family, at least, is really what makes them also likable, in my opinion.
I think for me, gosh, there's so many good ones. I think it probably is the plane scene where the missiles are coming closer and closer and closer. Like just that rapid fire editing. Like I panic every time I watch that scene because the acting is so good, and the editing is fantastic, and the music.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just perfect.
Okay, my favorite scene is, oh my God, when God, it's so hard to pick. Okay, I think it's when Mr. Incredible has Syndrome's assistant, and he's like, "I'll break her like a twig."
Ah, a little dark for you.
Wow. Okay.
And he's like, "No, you won't." He's like, he goes to do it, and then he releases her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite scene.
He makes your face look like a grape when he like squeezes her. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like it looks like a grape.
Mirage just kind of gets abused every now and again.
Yeah.
Because later on he chokes her out, and then she gets punched.
Yeah. Like when he chokes her out, she looks like a grape.
She does kind of look like a grape.
And
My
before we get a YouTube video series about how The Incredibles is okay with violence against women.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not good. Anyway, my favorite scene is you probably guess which character it is. It's an Edna scene.
Yes.
It's specifically when I can't, the monitor where she's like up close to the camera and you really only see like her nose and eyes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that's so funny. And
My
she's
God,
like,
you've gotten
state
fat.
your name and like,
Wait, that's even after he like loses weight too.
yeah, and she's like, state your name. What is your business? Like, I think that's so funny. And it's just the perfect intro to what is getting ready to happen with Edna.
My
yeah.
favorite Edna moment is pull yourself together, woman.
Yeah.
I'm partial to Edna mode and guess.
And guess.
I do have a favorite animation moment.
Ooh, do tell.
I would say my favorite animation moment is when the ice shoots out from his fingertips of
Frozen?
Frozen. Yeah. And when he's like skating across the city, I think that's really cool. Just like the speed they do it at. And part of it, is like the directing with the angles they use that. But I always thought that was so cool because honestly, the ice sort of contrasts with just the whole look of the city. I feel very warm tones when I look at the city, kind of like traditional classic design, and then the ice sort of contrasts it. And I think like, oh, it's the path of the superheroes. That's very a dramatic statement, I know, but
No,
I
it's cool.
enjoy it.
Right on the money, I think.
I think in terms of animation, like they do a lot of shots of like underwater hair in this movie.
Oh my God, I love
And like
water hair.
they had like only just figured out how to do fur in Monsters Inc. and water in Finding Nemo, and now they have to combine them in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I've like poured over the behind the scenes features on the DVD.
Oh, same. Can we talk
And-
about one specific DVD feature though?
Oh yeah, in a sec, I know which one, but like they're talking about all the underwater hair stuff and like how Brad Bird like kept insisting they do it, and the animators were just like, no.
Brad Bird
please."
would call meetings on like the arrangement of the food on the table in the dinner scene.
He's very detail oriented, and it's great.
Which I love that. I love details.
Me being one, I appreciate a good perfectionist at their finest.
All right.
I like Violet's force fields.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
That's like my second favorite animation.
I also
I
like
can't
she's
unhear that you sound like Violet.
Really? I'm like flattered.
yeah, like I also like when she just goes invisible, but she still has her regular clothes on. Like,
Yeah, it's funny looking.
I like how they also managed to make the clothes look baggy. I don't know if anyone else sort of picks up on that.
Oh,
But it
totally.
gives me a very teenage vibe, just sort of the baggy, maybe a little oversized for her clothes that typically a teenage, especially like Violet's character, I would think would wear more, and I appreciate it.
I also like the fact that when she goes invisible, she doesn't really go invisible. You know what I mean? Like you can still
Yeah.
see her there.
Well, I mean, like there's certain scenes where the like the henchman, like you really, because it's from his perspective more, but it's
Yeah.
got that like that fuzzy sort of. I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
it's got
Yeah.
the fuzzy, like you can kind of see the indents of her nose, kind of.
I think that's mainly also probably because I mean it is a kids film for the kid to probably keep up with as well, just like knowing kind of where she is, that
Yeah.
insider knowledge as well. Well, as what a kid would feel like, oh, I know where she is, but he doesn't. Maybe I don't know if that's they're going for, but I could see kids kind of tuning into that emotion.
yeah. Okay, so Jaren, you wanted to talk about the DVD extra. Go for it.
Okay, well, I did think about another thing from the DVD first. Just a quote that I use actually in my real life quite frequently came from one of the like behind the scenes features. Use every part of the buffalo. That Brad Bird cited that the Native Americans, when they hunted buffalo, they used every part of it for meat, for the hide, for the fur. I think that's, and how that ties into his filmmaking philosophy of using everything efficiently. And another thing from the audio commentary where he laments people saying animation's a genre,
Oh yeah,
where he says,
I love that little mini
It's a
rant of his.
where he's like, people always say to me, "Oh, what's it like working in the animation genre?" And he says, if one person comes up to me and calls animation a genre, I'm going to punch him in the face. I really admire that because it makes me frustrated when people assume animation's a genre, because it totally isn't. Live action is not a genre.
Really?
Anyway,
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like
start calling live action a genre to trigger animation haters.
I feel like
I mean,
well,
the live action Lion King made $1 billion.
okay. I see what you're saying. I guess I would animation. I don't know. I guess it's not really a genre, but I feel like more in a positive light. It's like because obviously animation has like there's dramatic, there's comedic, there's
Yeah.
action.
It's its own medium.
Yes, because I don't know, me like I love animation and I
Same.
honestly respect it more because there's so much dedication.
Same.
So personally for me, I feel like it's sort of undermining it to put it sometimes with regular movies because there's the acting there that's necessary, but there's such hard work and I just feel like genre I like previously was like, oh yeah, it is a genre, but it really is its own medium. I think is more appropriate to say.
I like animation more than I like really about
Me
anything else.
too.
Yep.
But
Anyway,
I love anything. Go ahead.
do you want to stick around for Cars next week?
Sure, we love a good Lightning McQueen.
Anyway, DVD extra time. The the fake cartoon of Mr. Incredible Frozone and the rabbit
Yeah.
with the live action lips. Does anyone else know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think so.
It's a parody of like terrible 60s cartoons. Cartoons, I say, in quotations, because there's like barely animation. It's just like still images of a person's face with no.
Listen, they were trying, Jaren.
It is the 60s. It is a beautiful like parody of it, and they like
It's
superimposed the live action moving lips onto the faces. What's even better is there's an in-character audio commentary where Mr. Incredible and Frozone are watching the cartoon, and they're complaining about it. And it's something I'll never forget.
It's amazing.
Is at the end of the episode, it's like, next time on Mr. Incredible, it's Mr. Incredible fighting a giant corn man. Giant man made of corn. He's like, I'll crush you, Mr. Incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Remember I said I'm at the stage of tired where like everything's funny.
Everything's funny.
Yeah.
It's like wearing the little paper crowns on Christmas. Everything's funny when you wear those.
Oh yeah, we wear those at Christmas every year, and they come with the little jokes.
Yeah, that's my family's Christmas tradition too.
Yeah, in the poppers, like
Yep.
you pop them, you get a little joke, you get a little crown, you usually get a little toy, and it's like a Happy Meal in Christmas.
Yep,
Yo,
it's awesome.
I've
I love it.
never
Very
heard
good.
of these.
What?
What?
Okay.
For our Thanksgiving.
Kind of getting off topic again.
Okay.
You're like our wrangler when we get too off topic.
I know, and I'm always sorry to do it because these are fascinating, but we're trying to talk about the
No,
movie.
I appreciate it. It would be bad. Who knows where we would have gone from there.
I just like the crowns. They're funny.
Crowns are funny.
Oh.
Anyway, you know who would look funny in a crown? Edna.
Oh,
She would be like, no, very ugly.
You know what? Actually, she'd look great because she's a queen.
True.
She definitely is, man.
Can you guess who my favorite character is by far?
Edna.
You like Random Citizen number 3.
You are absolutely right, Sharon.
The way they
dropped a-
scream "My baby" is just flawless.
My leg.
My leg.
I dropped a sweet Megamind reference today at rehearsal.
Love Megamind.
I love you, Random Citizen.
Oh yeah. By the way, y'all got me thinking I should do DreamWorks movies because I love DreamWorks. Get
All
some
right.
Wallace and Gromit. Oh,
I do
I
love Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit is the shit.
that's what I asked for all the seasons of Wallace and Gromit one Christmas.
Can I go on a quick tangent, like 30-second about Wallace and Gromit?
Well, duh, yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so I'm SJA president at my school, and every year we do well, since last year when I was been SJA president, we do Halloween movie night. And Wallace and Gromit: Attack of the Were-Rabbit has been one of the candidates for the movies both years, and the student body gets to vote on it. And both years, Wallace and Gromit has not won, and I'm starting to get bitter. I'm going to just start bringing in loads of change and putting it into Wallace and Gromit to vote for it, because that's how you vote for change. And if anyone disagrees with me, they can vote for the other movies, I guess. But too bad.
Oh,
Because
man.
last year we played Hotel Transylvania, and guess what we played this year? Hotel Transylvania 2.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Next year, I'm gonna go by and dump all my change in there.
Thank you. Although the other candidate is always Halloween Town. Let me just say, last year the candidates were Halloween Town, Wallace and Gromit: Attack the Were-Rabbit, and Hotel Transylvania. This year
Wait.
the movies were Wallace and Gromit: Attack the Were-Rabbit, Halloween Town, and Hotel Transylvania 2.
People
Why not?
chose Hotel Transylvania instead of Halloween Town or
Why
Why
Wallace
not
and
The
Gromit.
Nightmare Before Christmas?
Okay, listen. They all
Guys.
have to be G-rated.
Guys,
Oh, sorry. Incredibles is amazing.
thank you.
Yeah.
We'll have to call it in a bit, but I do want to end it on a discussion about the movie if we can.
All
I'm
right.
so sorry.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
All right. So if I mean we've talked a lot about this movie in between all the tangents.
Oh.
It's just I really do love this movie so much.
Same.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's probably in my top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
Ooh, okay.
I'm gonna go that like I
You
said,
were there.
first movie I ever can remember seeing in theaters. I watch it so much that I just know the beats by heart now. I really can't think of anything I dislike about this movie.
Same here.
No, yeah, same. It's definitely, if not my favorite for Pixar. I have a hard time picking favorite movies just because I love movies, but Incredibles is such a classic. Really, it was on replay, for a lot of my childhood. Well, I'm still a child, but my wee young phases of life.
It really does feel older than it is. Even though it came out in my lifetime, I feel like this could have been one of the classic films that Disney would do in their early days.
Yeah.
It feels timeless.
I feel like it was a precedent for a lot of animation afterwards, because if you watch it, you see where, as of now, where they really almost forcefully want to handle those serious topics in movies, to where in the beginning it was all la-di-da, everything's perfect and great, but Incredibles, I feel like it's that perfect balance where they subtly kind of put those issues into place but it's sort of covered up by some of the other action of the movie. But it's not discouraged to be noticed. It's just you might recognize it more with age.
Yeah, this movie ages like a fine wine.
Yes.
Like you have fun watching it when you're a kid, and then when you go back to it when you're an adult, you're like, how did I miss all of this?
Yeah.
Just truly phenomenal.
It is nothing short of like spectacular.
Yeah, and it would not be the same without like Brad Bird writing and directing it. Like, I'm just gonna geek out about him for a bit, but like, I love the way he like moves the camera so much.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know like how much you guys noticed it when you were like watching the film, but like, so often like you get really long shots, but you don't really notice them because the way the camera moves, it sort of tricks your brain into thinking, "Oh, I'm looking at a different shot now," even though
Yeah.
all one continuous one.
It feels different from most animation, just the way it works.
Yeah.
I think also possibly because it's an action film, I would say, with all the
Yeah.
fighting, you get those long, continuous fight scenes, whereas something like Ratatouille, which high quality, love that. It's
Yeah.
more, you watch this, you watch this, you watch the conversation go back and forth kind of thing. Like it's not as much of an opportunity, except maybe like one of the scenes on the moped that they have during that film. But I don't know. Storyline really fits in with the camera work here.
Yeah, and one of the great things about Brad Bird, like, he brings live action tricks to animation and animation tricks to live action.
Well, it's like that video essay on Toy Story 4 with the camera thing that you and I discussed a while back. It's such an interesting concept where it's not imitating live action, but at the same time implementing those filmmaking techniques.
Oh yeah, like some of like Brad Bird's biggest influences were like Spielberg and Akira Kurosawa, like the greats of live action.
Yes.
And I think he does deserve to be considered one of the greats.
Oh, I think so as well.
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree.
His voice acting alone.
I had no idea that that
Right?
yeah.
Like not only is he like all that, he's also like his own animator. Like he animated a couple shots in The Iron Giant, and like he storyboarded a lot of this film. Like he's just multi-talented.
Yeah. Could
Um,
not give more praise. Also a cool dude to follow on Twitter. He posts interesting things.
Yes, he does.
Can I give a quick shout out in this film to the voice acting, actually, since we brought him up doing that?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Love the voice acting of this film. Like, I
It's really good.
Everyone brought their A game. Like
It's just each character is so distinct. Like, there's not a single character that's just like kind of that everyday voice. And my favorite would be Elastigirl's voice. Okay, Edna too, but Elastigirl, specifically, it's that iconic. I feel like it captures her character as well. To be honest,
it's the perfect mother voice.
yeah.
Yes.
Like,
She kind of sounds like Jodie Foster, and for the longest time I thought that's who voiced her.
Yeah, you're kind of right.
I know. When I was little, I thought that's who that was because I was like, "Oh, she looks just like her. That has to be her."
You're used to Will Smith fish looking like Will Smith.
Oh no, not this film again.
Yeah. Like maybe my only complaint with that is like Frozone sounds a little too much like Samuel L. Jackson, but
Yeah, he does.
I mean like
But his voice is so perfect for those lines.
yes, it is. So I
Yeah.
can't complain.
Like
Hey,
anything
Sam-
else wouldn't do those lines justice. It's just what you want. It's what you need.
Are
Yeah.
we
Maybe it's just 'cause I've seen-
Jackson 5?
It could also be that I've just seen so many Samuel L. Jackson films.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've heard him so much throughout the years that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's him.
Yeah, but I don't know. Just the voices are so distinct. That's why I'm so complimented. You guys think I sound like Violet because it's just. I feel like this is the candy store of voice actors. If you're doing impressions, like those distinct voices, like you could pull from Incredibles and be like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to be Elastigirl," or "I'm going to be."
Oh yeah. If you watch this movie without the visuals, like you would just know everything that's really like going on with the
It would
character.
make a good radio drama.
Like I
Good.
can.
It would
hear-
also make a good silent film.
honestly.
Yes, the shot of Mr. Incredible in the tiny, cramped little car in the traffic jam, it just says it all.
It really does.
But the thing is, like, I can distinctly hear all their voices in my head right now. Like, I don't, it's not even vague. Like, I just know who that character is.
Yeah.
I think that really marks a good voice actor, too.
Yeah. Daniel and I discussed this the last episode on Finding Nemo with Dory being voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, and how Pixar often avoids stunt casting just for the sake of having a big name on the poster, even though they get big names. They tailor make, they cast that actor directly to the character rather than Will Smith fish.
Yeah.
You know what? Y'all are making fun of me because I like Shark Tale, but what about the people that like Ice Age?
No one likes that. They don't even remember or like talk about Ice Age, like positively or negatively. At least Shark Tale has like memes and stuff behind it.
Y'all don't like Ice Age?
Okay. The first one was
Aw.
decent, but all the other ones are terrible.
Okay,
I
it's
just
not
don't
my
care.
favorite film at
Simon
all.
Pegg in the third one is great, and I will hear no different.
I mean, I love Simon Pegg, so
Okay, listen, like, Ice Age isn't like my favorite film at all, but I appreciate it. I think it's good. I like Sid the Sloth. Is that his name? It's been a while. Since I
Yeah,
watched
it's it.
But he's the best character. Like, let's not lie about it. I mean,
Like I said, the first one is pretty good, but all the other ones that follow are terrible.
Okay, well, sequels, it's a hit or miss. We sometimes you just
I
gotta.
guess they
Hit
never
or
miss,
miss.
huh?
I guess they never miss, huh?
That girl's cute.
Okay. Well, I think we've gotten enough Incredibles discussion out of this. By
Yeah,
far our longest episode.
there's no Kingdom Hearts world for it,
No.
so
We are almost coming up on the time limit of the film. Like,
Really?
yeah, like the movie is an hour and 55 minutes long. It's one of the longest animated movies there is, at least in the West. And we're at
Okay.
an hour and 48.
It would ruin the voice acting qualities, but just put the Incredibles on mute and put our voices on it.
so like Wizard of Oz with Dark Side of
Yes,
the
you
Moon.
should do that.
We all try to sing the intro for when it starts. Da-da-da-da-da.
It's like
Nope.
Wizard of Oz, The Dark Side of the Moon, or Doug Walker's the Wall mixed with
You know,
Oh my gosh.
what I'm very curious, like, if you do that, like, does anything sync up? Like, are we talking about Edna during an Edna scene?
Of
Or
I
course.
would sure
Talking about
hope so.
That would be funny.
3/4
No,
thing was Edna.
Daniel, I saw one of your comments and they said that you should watch them while you're reacting.
yeah,
That's brilliant.
I can consider that. It's just a case of copyright is gonna destroy us if we do that.
Yeah, but like you
Copyright.
gotta skip some scenes. That's how you get them.
Or
Well,
maybe
you
maybe
could
we just mirror the movie in the on screen or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
You could do a podcast of it, not tell them you're watching the movie, but just happen to be watching the movie and reacting at the same time. And then at the end of the movie, you say, by the way, you should watch the movie, put it on mute, and then listen to this podcast. You're
So like an
welcome.
audio commentary then.
We should do that for Cars 2, because that'll be the only way it'll be fun to do the Cars 2
That's
podcast.
our Christmas special.
Oop.
So it'd
Yep.
be like the four of us, Joey, Jason, Ellington.
Yes, I love all those people so much.
We're the Biscuit Gravy Gang.
I love that.
Do I have to rename the channel to that?
Biscuit Gravy Productions.
We have like 3 different names going for the channel.
A little backstory for those of you who don't know.
So me
Daniel, Joey, Olivia, Ellington, and sometimes Jason and I over the summer just sort of hung out sometimes. And I was like, we need a name for like our group, and it was like 3 a.m. I couldn't think of anything better, so I thought like Biscuit Gravy. That sounds pretty funny. And I was like, we're the Biscuit Gravy Gang or the Biscuit Boys.
that sounds like something Steven Universe would come up with.
It is.
All right.
For you, you should just do a Steven Universe podcast.
I would totally be there for that.
I'd be all.
We might have to do that before Steven Universe Future comes out.
I'm so
Oh
excited.
yeah, I showed you the intro to that at rehearsal one night, and you freaked
Yes,
out.
I had been in the dark, and I love Steven Universe, and then I found out about this, and I lost my marbles.
She did.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Incredibles is
Oh.
great.
Well, I'm more thinking like we kind of just need to end.
Oh yeah.
So, any closing thoughts on this movie?
Edna's the best. Thank you.
I'd say it's a 5 out of 5. It's incredible.
Yeah.
My Gene Shalit impression.
Elastigirl makes the movie.
Her hair tastes like rubber.
My last note is my last note is we didn't talk about the Omni Droid, and we really slept on him, but he's
The
cool too.
Omnitroid was scary. That's what I thought. He
It's an
freaked
awesome
me out.
robot.
He
Awesome
freaked
robot.
me out.
Okay, and this has been To Infinity and Beyond.
Woo!
Yay! Thanks for having us.